All right, team, R442 resistance for January. It's pretty basic. You only have 3 circuits, 1 main circuit. Your main circuit consists of 6 exercises. 3 rounds, you're doing right side, left side, okay? So you're doing you're doing right side, left side, right side, left side, right side, left side. Again, for 3 rounds. Your work time's 30 seconds. Your transition time from right side to left side, from side to side, is 8 seconds. And your end of round rest time is 25 seconds. Then you get a 30-second transition time from exercise to exercise. Once you're done with the main circuit, then you're going to move on to the finishing circuit, which is going to be finishing off those legs. You have 2 exercises, 4 rounds, 25 seconds worth of work, 0 transition time from exercise to exercise, and then a 10-second end of round rest time. Again, 2 exercises, 4 rounds. Once you're done with that first finishing circuit, you're going to go into another finishing circuit, which is going to consist of abs. So we're going to work on our abs here, and it's going to be the Sally leg lift. Again, with the Sally leg lift, when you go down, you're not going all the way down. So imagine these are your legs. Ground's right here. You're going to stay about 4 to 6 inches off the ground. You come back up, this is your rest. Now, if you really want to challenge yourself, lift the hips off the ground, or don't come all the way up, because that's going to be really, that's going to keep the tension on those abs. You really want to destroy yourself, lift the hips off the ground when she says up, and then go right back down into that leg lift, holding those legs off the ground, about 4 to 6 inches off the ground. And that is for almost 3 minutes. That is a real killer core workout with Sally involved there. Again, on the down, you're holding it down, but 4 to 6 inches off the ground. Come up. If you really want to challenge yourself, lift the hips off the ground, or don't come all the way up. And always remember, try to keep the shoulders off the ground, because that keeps the tension on the core. And remember, when it comes to core, there's 2 things you're looking for. 1, you're looking for, make sure you feel it where you're supposed to. That is the most important thing. They start feeling their lower back, their hip flexors, or someplace else. Change up the exercise, modify it, downgrade it, do something where they actually isolate and feel it in the abs. And 2, when the burning starts, that's when the benefit to the muscle starts. So don't stop when the burning starts. And their team is R442 resistance for January. It's going to be the single leg goblet or double kettlebell step ups. So here, I'm going to move the dumbbells. And of course, you can do them with dumbbells. You can do a goblet with dumbbells just as easy as you can do a goblet with a kettlebell. So this is a goblet hold. Right here is a goblet. Again, goblet hold right here, okay? And what that does is that's going to be working more of your shoulders. So we're doing legs, but we're still working the shoulders. Now, once again, if we're really focusing on the legs and we're trying to do as heavy load, if we're lifting to our maximum capacity on the legs, this one isn't going to be enough for our legs, but it's going to destroy our upper body and it's going to prohibit us from going heavy. So you grab 2 kettlebells, okay? Again, or dumbbells. But if we want to do the goblet, again, step up. We're going to come up, tap that bench, push your hips forward to squeeze those glutes, back down again. Now, the higher this step, the more glute activation you're going to get, the more stress you're going to put on that knee joint. So what I recommend is, typically we're going to have about 4 risers on each side of the step. And what we can do to get a little bit more depth or more range of motion is just bend that back leg, come up, step up, bend that back leg, push to the heel, squeeze the glute. Remember, you're staying on that one leg the entire time. Again, I recommend, if you're going to really overload those legs, you have 2 kettlebells, okay? If not, then the goblet is a good option, because it's going to work not only the shoulders, but you're also going to be working a lot of core on that as well. And then the last but not least is going to be the single leg stability or slider leg curl. Dumbbell bench, single arm. In hip position, use both arms to get in position. Most important thing is my elbow placement. I want my elbow to be in line with my shoulders or slightly below my shoulders. Again, I'm over exaggerating here, but I want to see that elbow either in line or slightly below, ideally slightly below. You can come down to about 90 degrees or just a little bit lower than 90 degrees, get a little bit more of a pec stretch in there, and then back up with a nice arc position here. When you're done, grab both dumbbell or both hands and then roll yourself out. So the split squat from the step, what you're going to do is you're going to have a step with maybe 1, at most 2 risers on it, because you're not looking for a big, tall step. You're just looking for a little bit more elevation. And what the elevation does is it gives more range of motion in that glute, okay? So elevating the leg gives more range of motion versus here. I'm stopping here versus here. I'm stopping here so I get more range of motion in that glute. So again, you can use kettlebells, you can do dumbbells, you can do goblet. Goblet, going to be this hold right here. Doesn't matter what type of weight you're using, if you're using any weight at all. You have a long lunge backwards, you come down, push through the heel, pushing kind of away. For most people, if they push away though, it's easier for them to get those glutes activated. Again, come down, shoulders down and back, push through the heel. Make sure the full foot is all the way on that step. And again, all this does is give you a little bit more range of motion, so they should be able to feel it in their glutes just a little bit more. And again, remember, you're staying on one side. The split squat is one leg at a time. We're not alternating. Now, if you do an alternating, obviously that is alternating from a step. That's going to be the alternating reverse lunge from a step, which is going to be a little bit different. Same concept, same movement pattern. Difference is you're switching on top. All right, single arm rubber band high to low press crossover or crossover, okay? So here on this one, the key is to come over midsection. What you want to do is you want to go from high to low. So you want to go from a position of high to low. Think of it almost like a decline press. We're working the bottom part of our chest here. But this is single arm, or you can do double arm. Double arm, same concept. Make sure you get the same rubber band. You're going to keep your chest up. You're going to come down. You're going to cross over in front. Okay, now we're not just crossing our arms, we're trying to bring those elbows across. So what I mean by that is we're not just crossing our arms like this. Elbows don't cross over midsection. You want to try to bring those elbows at least to midsection here. That gets you more of a contraction in that pec muscle, which you're going to get a lot more out of. Good stretch, make sure you're getting a good stretch on it. Single arm, same exact concept. Split stance or wide stance. Standing up, again, we're trying to go from high to low position, come across, bring that elbow all the way across. That's where you're gonna really feel the contraction when you bring the elbow across. Again, just bringing the arms across doesn't really give you that full contraction. My elbow's still way out here, okay? The other thing is if they're not using enough weight or resistance, what's gonna happen is they're gonna have to come further and further and further out, and then they're gonna start bending forward like this, and now I'm just turning it into basically a regular chest press crossover. All I'm doing is turning it into a crossover, which is not bad. But if we're going the high to low, you wanna be going high to low versus coming out here and just going straight. And in fact, some people will even turn it into an incline crossover, which once again is fine. You're gonna be working more shoulders than you are gonna be chest. We're really trying to isolate that bottom part of the chest with the high to low versus up here or even up here. So just kind of keep in mind how they're positioned on the TRX with those rubber bands. Because again, if they're grabbing too low of a rubber band, too weak of a rubber band, you have a tendency to turn it into something that's more of a front press or even an incline press. It's gonna be single leg deadlift. Now, single leg deadlifts, I always recommend doing two weights. You can do one weight, but I recommend doing two because you can double the load. Now, if you're gonna do one, you wanna do contralateral. That will add a little bit more for stability, just like this, okay? Again, I like to add two because your legs are a lot stronger than you think they are. And again, this is a deadlift, so if they have issues with the lower back, single leg probably isn't their best option. They can probably just do a double deadlift, okay? And then keep it light. Again, option one is kind of kick that leg back, okay? Keeping the shoulders down and back. You want those shoulders down and back. Option two is you kick this leg back, use this for support. You're doing the exact same movement. Hamstrings tell you when to stop, come back up again. Okay, but you're keeping those shoulders down and back, and you're helping that foot in the back is gonna help stabilize you for your balance instead of just kind of coming down, especially if you're going to a heavy load. It's gonna be really challenging to maintain that balance with a very heavy load. Okay, so our next exercise is the rubber band high to low fly. So this one here, again, they don't execute it perfectly, it's okay. It's a little bit more complicated, not that complicated, but a little bit more. They're gonna bring their arm out here, slight bend in the arm, okay? They keep constant tension. Notice this rubber band is not drooping back here, okay? I stand out to where I keep that enough tension. I'm starting with a high fly. So I come up high, across my body high, and then I come down to the low position. So I'm coming back, bring it up high, about eye level, back, and then down low. Now what you're gonna see a lot of people do is this, because it's too much tension on the rubber band, they don't have the strength to keep their arm straight to bring that hand all the way across. Again, high to low. So they're starting high, low, doesn't matter either way. They're going from the high to low. And if they even do the midsection, it's okay, guys. Okay, the most important thing is they're feeling it in that pec. So that's what you want to do, is make sure they feel it in the pec. Start with the high so they get a little bit more of that upper pec, down here so they get a little bit more of that lower pec, okay? The single leg hip thrust or bridge, they can do that with or without a rubber band. Ideally, if they want more out of it, they're going to use that rubber band. So if they want to get more glute work, the rubber band goes on, okay? Again, keep in mind they can do this without. For a beginner, I'd probably recommend probably no rubber band whatsoever, because what we're going to do, option one, is just a hip thrust. Now imagine I don't have that rubber band. All I'm going to do is take my hips down and back up again. I'm trying to get them in that straightened position, because that's really what engages those glutes. Now, if I need more than that, that's not enough, I'm going to leave it in this position. Okay, I can do it without the rubber band. If I want even more, I leave it in this position and I take my leg wide and I'm pulsing. So not only am I just on that one glute, but I'm also pulsing my legs wide, which is working both glutes and putting more strain on that one glute that's holding me up. Okay, or they can, like I said, they can also, for those that have lower back issues, this one is going to be a little bit harder because it does put some stress on that lower back. This is going to alleviate it because you balance it out. So they can simply do the bridge and they can just pulse out wide. Okay, so those are the options. And if they did do both feet at the same time, they wouldn't take a break. They would just go right and left. They would do it the entire time, which I promise is going to be very effective, because it will start burning, because they're doing it for a minute. The entire length is a full minute. Leg lift with a hip lift. So hands underneath the hips, leg lift, just like that. That's option one. They can even do one leg at a time. But notice my shoulders are off the ground, guys. My shoulders are always off the ground, because that engages the abs automatically. Option two, leg lift, hip lift. Option three is just the hip lift. They just, in this position, and do the hip lift. Then from there, they're